Heavenly Father, we place our work and ourselves into your hands. Anoint our creativity, our ideas, and our energy so that even the smallest task may bring you honor. Bless us with wisdom, discernment, and commitment. May all we do be done in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Maria. All right, well, we'll go ahead and call the meeting going. Todd, we have a forum.
Yes, sir, you have a full board.
Board, here. Any public comment?
No, sir, we do not have any public comment.
No public comment. Okay, we'll get started with regular agenda item number 1. Shay.
Yes, sir. Resolution 2025-58, consideration and approval of an interlocal agreement between the Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority and the Cameron County Regional Mobility Authority to provide tolling services for the 365 tollway project. Chairman and directors, this interlocal, we've been in negotiations probably well over a year with Cameron County Regional Mobility Authority, and this is to provide the back office services for the 365 tollway. And I'll try to summarize it. We have Andrew Cadmus with HDR, who is the tolling expert for us. But basically, we have the toll road and we have the electronic equipment out in the field that will, if the vehicle has a toll tag, we'll read the transponder. If it doesn't, it will read the license plate. That's how we determine ownership of the vehicle. It'll also tell us what classification of vehicle. Is it a passenger car or is it a truck? That information goes to a centralized hub that's out in the field. And then that data is transferred to a server that we've set up a server room here in our office that is dedicated for tolling only. And then from that server, the information goes to the Cameron County server in Cameron County at their toll operations center. And then from there, the information goes to the Harris County Toll Authority. Harris County Toll Authority has pretty much become the processing center for tolls for the state of Texas. Recently, TxDOT contracted with him to do all their toll roads. And so that's kind of the trend in the state. They're probably the largest tolling operation in the state. And so there's economies of scale going through the Harris County Toll Authority for processing tolls. And so Cameron County RMA has an agreement, an interlocal agreement with Harris County Toll Authority, and we made that agreement with with Cameron County RMA. So it's kind of a pass through. The biggest component that Cameron County RMA is going to provide is customer service representatives. They already have the infrastructure in place, so they have customer service representatives to answer questions, to deal with disputes, any issues they may have. And so there's also a manual component to toll collections. If you don't have a transponder toll tag, and it has to, you do what's called pay by mail. They read your license plate. That's how they determine ownership, and they send you a bill through the mail. But there's a manual component to that where they actually have to review every license plate to make sure that the system read the license plate correctly, and that an O wasn't a 0, and certain letters, a B wasn't an 8. And so that's part of the services that Cameron County will be providing for us, verifying that the equipment in the field is actually picking up the correct license plates, as an example. If you flip over to your agreement under section 6, which is compensation for services, the Cameron County RMA in their agreement with Harris County Toll Authority will pay a flat fee to Harris County Toll Authority for up to $7 million of toll revenue collected. So for the first $7 million aggregately, there's no fee to the Hidalgo County RMA to piggyback onto the agreement with Cameron County RMA, and Hector Harris County Toll Authority. Once the revenues exceed $7 million, then we'll pay our pro rata share of the additional costs that Hector charges. There is also interoperable fee that's charged for what they call away transactions that are not part of our system. And that's a 5 cent per transaction, plus 3% of the toll amount for processing the interoperable transaction via the Central United States Interoperability Hub. We also will not incur any onboarding or capital costs to use Cameron County's back office. So for us to utilize their system and connect to it, there's no charge unless there's an upgrade to the system that we require, where more servers or more equipment, then we will participate with capital costs. But at this point, there's no onboarding costs for us utilizing their equipment. The other component that we will be responsible for cost is debt collection. Obviously, when you have anytime you collect revenues, there's a certain portion of it that's delinquent, and we will have to go collect that debt. And so debt will be via a vendor, which happens to be Lineberger is the current debt, which is they're the majority. They do the majority of public agencies in the region, but that's who's on contract with the Cameron County RMA, and it'll be a pass-through cost for whatever they collect on our behalf. And that, in a nutshell, is the agreement between Cameron County RMA. The reason that we were in a hurry to get this approved is that we've got to get this agreement approved by the board so that we can start integrating our toll system with their back office so that we can start testing. And there's a period where we have to start testing transactions, make sure they're accurate, make sure everything works before we can go live. So we're getting to the point where we've got to start doing all that integration and testing so that we can prepare for when we do go live, everything has been tested and verified and it's accurate. So staff is recommending approval of this.
Question, what about reporting? Who reports?
So we get monthly reporting, and actually, Cameron County has agreed to generate any of the reports that we need customized reports. They will provide those to us, but no less than monthly. And actually, we'll probably need weekly reporting.
Pilar, this is Zeke.
Yes, sir.
This is Zeke Reyna. This is the meat and potato of collections and revenues. Why didn't we do this beforehand and have an extensive meeting? Because you went through it really quick. I have a lot of questions. This is not a 10-minute meeting. I mean, why didn't we provide the adequate time on this type of agreement that's going to be foretelling what we're going to be for the next 5 to 10 years? I don't understand that procedure that you use. You said that time's of the essence. We've had a lot of time to review this, or for you to engage Cameron County and Harris County. Why the urgency and why not? Why did we wait so long?
Director, the short answer is we didn't wait. We've started negotiating this probably a year and a half ago.
So why didn't you bring it to our attention a little bit at a time so you could start helping us out? You're throwing at this just like this. I mean, I have a lot of questions. Do you have time for all this?
Yes, sir, we sure do. But, again, the short answer is there was a lot of components to this agreement that we went back and forth for a long period of time with Cameron County, and we, asked them to consider something. They took quite a bit of time to.
Now listen to what you're just saying.
What?
That it took a long time to do this, and you're asking us to consider this for 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes?
Yes, sir.
That's not right. I mean, if it took you that long, because there's a lot of components to be considered, and you just went through the I think 5, 6 items and you just breeze right through them.
Yes, sir. I went through primarily what it was gonna cost us to enter into this interlocal agreement. There's were a lot of technical issues that we had to work through with Cameron County RMA and with Harris County Toll Authority. And a lot of that took time too, that it was more on the technical side. The items I went through is really what cost the RMA, the Hidalgo County RMA is going to incur by entering into this agreement.
Well, I can ask some questions. I'm not willing to vote on this today, but you're telling us that there's a $30,000 flat fee right now obligated by Cameron County up to $7 million. Is that correct?
Yes, that is
Okay.
correct. And we
After $7 million, there's going to be some type of cost related. Now, the $7 million, is that going to be considered just Cameron County or also be inclusive of our fee?
it's aggregate between the two. That is the fee that's paid to Harris County Toll Authority to process the tolls for both entities.
How much is Cameron County collecting right now?
Andrew, do you happen to have that? We've got Andrew Cadmus on the line. Let me see if Andrew has that answer.
Yes, I'll pull that up. But remember, this is $7 million per month. So it is going to be, it's forecast to be several years before that cap is reached. But let me pull up the specific numbers.
We believe it's going to be several years, Director, before we hit that, probably on the order of about 5 years, I would say.
That's right.
3 to 5 years before we hit that $7 million per month cap.
So you're saying we're not going to have a flat rate for the next 5 years?
Yeah, yes, sir. That's what we're planning on, not having to pay. Cameron County will pay that flat rate until we exceed $7 million per month, and we don't anticipate that for about 5 years.
That's correct.
Okay, and then we don't have to be concerned about the percent thereafter then if we're looking 5 years away from now, is that what you're saying?
No, sir, I said we won't have additional fees. We won't start paying a fee until about 5 years from now. And even then it'll be prorated based on the number of transactions for Cameron County RMA and transactions for Hidalgo County RMA. So we'll pay our prorated share.
What do you think that pro rata will be in 5, 7, 10 years? Cameron County versus Hidalgo.
I think, if I may, I believe it should be about 50-50.
It's on page
Okay.
36.
Okay,
See, Director, see, if you take a look at page 36, there's some projected CSC costs.
yes, and I just want to make sure that that's exactly what we're talking about.
Well, no, that's a different cost. Customer service representatives, we pay for directly, or we pay our prorated share of that upfront from day one. What this is the fee to go through the Harris County Toll Authority. So like I said, the first $7 million per month of revenue, there's no cost to us. And we do not anticipate getting a pass through from Harris County through Cameron County to us until we see that cap. And we think it'll be about 5 years before we actually have to pay our pro rata share to Harris County Toll Authority.
Do we know, do we have, do we have any expectations of having any tolls generated in the next 5 years by any other, we're not going to do anything within 5 years, right?
This will be the only toll road that we have in the next 5 years.
What about Cameron County?
I think they've got the 550 and that's it.
Is that within 5 years?
Yes, sir. I don't think they'll have any additional toll facilities related to roadworks. They may have parks, tolls at parks and things like that. But as far as roadways, it'll be the 550 in Cameron County and the 365 in Hidalgo County.
Will the new toll, will that impact this agreement?
I don't, I'm not sure, I don't understand your question.
It's existing.
It's existing right now?
Yes,
No, I'm talking about new. Do you anticipate to have any new tolling highways in Cameron County in the next 5 years?
no, sir. No, sir, we do not. Not in the next 5 years.
So this particular agreement won't be impacted by anything else in the next 5 to 7, 8 years?
That is correct.
There's the change.
Yeah, and like any of our agreements, we have an out clause in here that we can get out of this agreement if it's no longer advantageous to us. And so
Yeah, but it's a 6-month out.
it's a 6-month out, correct? Yeah, and that's so that we can have time to transition. Tolling systems are very complicated and it's not something that we can transition out of in 30 days. And so we'll need at least 6 months to transition out of it and find a new back office, either have our own back office or, for example, maybe contract with Harris County Toll Authority directly ourselves. But there's a lot of infrastructure involved with that. We'd have to create our own customer service center. We'd have to create all our back office infrastructure. And so right now we're taking advantage of another agency that's already put that capital costs into all of that and not having to spend those capital dollars to create all that infrastructure.
What
Yeah,
would we have? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, Zeke, I think I was gonna just say that I kind of have the same concerns that it seems that Director Reina has, that there's a lot of information, a lot of considerations. I mean, it would have been nice to have, if we do it ourselves, this is what it's going to take, this is what it's going to cost, this is the timetable. If we do it with Harris County, this is what it is, this is how much it's going to cost. We do it with Cameron County, this is what it is, and this is how much it's going to cost. We weren't, at least, and I'm one of the newer members, so I didn't know whether this was shared, that information was shared at the beginning, but it doesn't seem like it was. But you're asking us to make a rushed decision without giving us the information to consider the other alternatives.
So what we could do, Director, is we could give you that information. We have all that analysis. We've done all of that. We've gone through those exercises and we can provide it to the board if you want to table this item. And we can take it up at the October meeting, the regular October meeting. But we can provide you with all that cost analysis. We've done all of that to,
Yeah, Pilar, but we're the ones that have to vote on it. Don't you think that we needed that information, at least for nothing else, for us to make sure that we're doing the right thing or to protect ourselves and the RMA? I mean, it's okay for you to have it, but you need to have shared that information with us.
and yes, sir, you're absolutely correct. The problem is because it took us so long to,
Well, that just means that you have to work day and night.
Yes,
You
sir.
can't put us in this position because you didn't have time. You've been working on it for a year and a half. And you got the information, and in 10 minutes, you want us to make this decision?
Yeah, and this is a special called meeting, so it's not like you ran out of time because of a regular meeting was coming up.
we ran out of time because we need to start integrating our equipment that's already been installed in the field. Our contractor, our toll integrator, which is CSEC, he's ready to start the integration process. And if we're gonna meet our deadlines to open, I mean, all of that has to be in place and tested and accepted. And that's what we ran into. If you look at, Cameron County just approved this agreement probably 2 weeks ago. And so
How have they been operating then?
they've had their system operational for years, Director. They've got an existing system and it's been operational for years. What took a long time was agreeing to all the technical requirements along with the cost requirements. And
So who's been collecting for them?
they've got a system in place, Director. They've been collecting tolls for years. They've got the back office. They've got the customer service center. They've got all the infrastructure in place.
So they have been
They've had it
collecting
for years.
themselves? They have been collecting themselves, or they've been collecting through Harris? Because you just said they just approved this 2 weeks ago with Harris. Is that what you said?
No, they approved it with us.
Oh,
Their
oh,
board very
oh,
considered it 2
oh.
weeks ago. Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
but Pilar, that brings another concern. How were they voting on something a potential agreement with us when we haven't even seen it. So they've already approved this 2 weeks ago, and this is the first we're
Yeah.
seeing it.
Right, they approved it 2 weeks ago, and they're basically saying, here's the agreement where this is what we're agreeing to work with Hidalgo County RMA. It's not our system, it's their system, and basically the agreement is allowing us to utilize their system.
You know, let me ask real quick. We're October 6th today. Our regularly scheduled meeting is the 20th.
28.
8th. I want to ask, like everyone else is bringing it up, let's turn our focus for just a minute. We know the urgency, we know the special call meeting, we know where we're standing today. But I concur with what some of the directors are saying, and I want to just explore for a minute. We can continue, we can take the benefit of all of us being together and try to, ask more questions, et cetera, but let's talk for a moment. And I think you said it just a minute ago, that there is the possibility to table this item and vote on it on the 28th. And I'd like to hear a little bit about what the implications of those are, of doing just that.
So,
Because that's what I'm hoping or wanting to do,
yeah,
based on what's been said.
so the real challenge we're up against, Chairman, is that we're on the deadlines that we need to start doing the integration with our equipment's out in the field and we can't test it. It's installed, we can't do anything with it until we integrate it with the back office, which the plan has always been to utilize Cameron County as our back office provider. And so we're at the point where our contractor can no longer proceed with testing, factory acceptance, just a bunch of, and the testing takes, Andrew, what's the schedule for the testing? I'd say it's not just anything we do for a couple of days. It's months and months of testing to make sure the accuracy, because we're talking about revenue. And we got to make sure that everything is reading the vehicles correctly, reading the classification, making sure it's a car or a truck so that we're charging the right rate. We need to make sure the transactions are going through, making it all the way through our network to Cameron County's network to Harris County's network and, and back, and making sure that everything works correctly. And it's just not a process it's a matter of days. It takes months to do all of that.
Yeah. So I hear that. I don't know what what happens in the real world out there in terms of actually, starting to turn some of this stuff on. I suspect you don't turn it on till you have a signed agreement, perhaps. On the other hand, we've met, the directors will have had it. Is there any way to do both things? Is there any way to get the benefit of the time for all of us to have the time that's necessary, like Director Reina is saying, to, render a proper vote, and at the same time, attempt to not slow this down? Believing that I'm great, staff has done this, this is what staff's recommending. I know that Blakely and y'all have done a lot of work on this to get to where we are today, so understand staff's recommendations, but is there an opportunity to do both things at the same time?
At this point, I'm gonna ask Andrew to maybe kind of chat. I don't think there is, Chairman. I think we wait until we present the board with the information they want. At this point, I don't think 2 or 3 more weeks will be fatal, I guess, to us. I think we can wait a couple of weeks, but if we wait several months, then I think we'll have some major issues.
No, I don't think we're talking months, but there's definitely a difference between. I mean, I know I received information from you, that would have been 2 Fridays ago. So on the 26th, about calling the meeting, the special meeting, and polling everybody. But then we got this, I think, on the 3rd, and today's the 6th. And, I have to agree with the directors that have made comments. It's really not enough time for us to make a good informed decision. There are questions. I have my own. And so let's And it's up to the board, but and if you're saying that that can be done and it's not gonna be fatal to the project, which none of us want anything like that, I think we move towards making this part of our regularly scheduled meeting that will come up on the
Yes, sir.
28th.
We can do that and have an opportunity to provide the additional information. Basically, it sounds like the board wants to see the cost alternatives we went through. And we went through quite a few of those exercises. I will add one thing that we did try to pursue going directly through Harris County Toll Authority directly with them. And they're not interested in having an agreement with us because they've already got an agreement with a tolling agency in the region. And so they want us to work through Cameron County so that they don't have to have a separate network for us. They have one network for both of us.
What was that communication? Was it an email? Was it a letter?
Sit down and sit down. We had, actually, in this room, we had Cameron County RMA, we had Harris County Toll Authority staff here, and we had HBR, and that's something that they were, that's not the route we prefer. Maybe someday, they said, maybe someday we could contract with you directly, but at this time, because we're basically a small operation, we could, just kind of give you the order of magnitude. Let me see, there's the number of transactions we're projecting to do. Pull that up. Just to give you an order of magnitude, is that we're looking about doing about 4.5 million transactions per year on our network. Harris County Toll Authority does 97 million transactions a year. And so that's why they're not interested, because we're small potatoes.
Yep.
Now, and I think Cameron County has less transactions than we do. Project to have less transactions, so that's why they just want to treat us as one system.
Yeah.
We're small potatoes.
But I think that makes sense, and then I welcome the opportunity to work with our neighbor in the region here in Cameron County. And the point being to the whole discussion is that I think we'll be well served for all the directors to have the benefit of some time with this to be included to go over this carefully.
Yeah.
You got to say there, you got a question?
It's just, you know,
And Pilar, if I can ask a question,
Sorry about that. But let me take it one at a time. We've got Director Ochoa asking a question now, and then we'll move to the next question. Go ahead.
it's always good to have some kind of historical information to the board so that we can be on the same page. And that's what I would appreciate. And there's certainly some comparables of some sort. I think you know where we're going here. So again, in agreement with I think with several of us, it's just too early and can't see the urgency, but can't wait 2 weeks.
Well, he said we can. Go ahead, Director Pena.
yeah, is Harris County the only game in town to work with? Or have we explored any other tolling agencies?
There's other games in town, but Harris County has become the powerhouse in the state. Even TxDOT has given them all of their tolling transactions. Andrew, can you kind of chime in on that?
Absolutely, yes. So there are several, alternatives. We explored those from doing our own back office to using HCRMA to using NTTA, et cetera. This really is a really good option. And we've done that cost analysis, and happy to share that information with you all.
Yeah, CTA is Central Texas RMA in the Austin area. Net RMA is in the Northeast. Harris County obviously is in the Houston area. And then the other big tolling entity in the state is TxDOT.
Great. And TxDOT is trusting Harris County now. We forecast that this opportunity will save us about $500,000 in capital costs and about $115,000 annually in collection costs.
Pilar Zeke, Reina, and I'm not saying this is not a good deal. All I'm saying is we need to get somewhat in line and informed ourselves. That's all I'm saying. We need to know some of the intricacies that y'all took into consideration in the background. And you're just giving us the bolt and nuts of it, and that's not sufficient for this type of agreement. And this probably will be the best agreement. It's up to you to bring forth, and you all recommending this. But look at just the questions that we asked right now. Who else is out there? We need to know, if nothing else, for ourselves and the political people that appointed us. They need to know this information too. And we just can't go around saying, "Oh yeah, we voted for it." We need to know why and how. That information of the 150, 115,000 is huge.
Yes, sir. And I apologize. Andrew has actually a pretty good PowerPoint that lays that all out. We should have probably gone through that PowerPoint with the board at the beginning of this presentation, because it shows a lot of the analysis that we did and the cost comparison. And so we can certainly line that up for the regular board meeting to go to show you all the exercises and cost comparisons we went through.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be a lot better served if we do that. So let's get that out to all the directors. Let's ensure that all the directors have, which they always do, a direct and open line to staff for any questions along the way. I don't envision, I mean, I think the next time we'll meet will be our next regularly scheduled meeting, and we don't want to go beyond that without having a decision made. So let's get all our questions asked from here to then. And I don't see us calling yet another meeting, but let's take advantage of this particular meeting. If anybody has any additional questions, I have a couple of them that I'm just curious about myself. But anybody else have questions for now, right now, or for today? Understanding that we're going to move forward with that type of setup. Good, Pilar?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Also, one question.
Yeah.
Is there room for negotiation in this agreement, as we start to, build up our traffic on the toll road?
Yes, sir. There is.
Do we need 4 individuals on the CSC staff? So we reduce those costs?
So
is the budget negotiable?
So that's an estimate, but we are going to actually, we don't have any historical data to compare that to. So what Cameron County RMA has agreed to is that we'll open up with their customer service representatives that they currently have, and engage it based on if their customer service representatives can handle the workload. But then as the transactions increase, so we're not gonna start off with 4 employees that we're responsible for. We're estimating that that's what we'll grow into. And so we'll start off with just their staff, and then gauge on how many transactions they can process, how much work they're gonna have, and then we will add as needed, but we won't start off with a certain amount of customer service representatives.
It would be very helpful, and I do this a lot with projections and so forth. So if it was a way to maybe give us some type of projection for 2026, 2027, how it builds up.
Yes.
What our fees would be like for the first 6, 7, 8 months, whatever, we have no fee because we're building up to that 7 million.
Yes.
Maybe for several years. And then after that, head count.
Yes.
We start with 1 person, how much it would cost, 2 people, and then we're up to maybe 3 or 4. And then so we can look at it and say in 12 months or 24 months, this is the estimated amount that we're going to be paying for this service.
Yes, sir.
And sometimes we get confused what a fee is compared to what a toll is.
Yes.
There's 2 separate things. I'm saying it here. I'd like to be clear on our fees and clear on our overhead.
Right.
So just to, if you could do that for us, maybe some type of a pro forma.
So I think Andrew's got some nice graphs that kind of show the revenues and where we think the additional customer service representatives will be needed based on the number of transactions and revenue we're collecting. If you go back to that page 36,
Yes, sir.
it actually shows the estimated toll transactions. So when we open, we're probably neck and neck with the number of transactions Cameron County is collecting. They're if you look at the year 2026. But as we go down, you can see that our transactions start to exceed and surpass what Cameron County will be processing. And so we'll become the majority of the transactions in the system. So if you go all the way to 2035, we'll be collecting almost 12.2 million transactions versus they're a little over 9 million transactions. So they will be doing the bulk of the transactions will be ours, or the majority of the transactions will be.
And that's sort of where I'm going with it, but it's all the way to 2020 to 2035. In my mind, if we're the bulk of the transactions, then we should learn how to do this, and then they should, if they're making any fee income off of us, then we should be the primary, and we should be charging them to do the service.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, if we're doing 13 million transactions compared to 9, you see what I mean? That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
So, and then, do they make fee income off of us?
Yes, they do.
Cameron County makes a fee income?
Yes, they
And
do.
how much do you think that is?
Well, let me see.
I mean, they make 100,000 off of us or 500,000 or what do you think?
They're probably, I think they're probably making about about 25,000 off us starting
A month.
a month. Yeah,
That's, that's 300,000.
or a year, actually, probably a year. A year,
Okay,
yes.
25,000 a year.
Yeah.
Big difference. Yeah. That's all I have, John. Thank you.
Well, my
Hello?
question is very similar to that in that, and you said there wasn't any upfront or startup costs, but I wondered if there was any type of capital recovery costs or anything as if are they going to be investing going forward or that covered?
So going forward, under the terms of the agreement, we would participate with our pro rata share of any upgrades that were needed. Maybe if more customer service representatives were needed and they needed more consoles for those people, then we would participate in our pro rata share. If there were any upgrades to the software and hardware, for example, then we would pay our pro rata share based on the number of transactions. So that's in the agreement, so.
And it's likely in here, but I didn't follow that. But as far as the fee income, how does it flow? What happens there? I mean, you've got the tolls going on here,
Yeah, so
they're
the,
collecting.
so the transactions flow through here to Cameron County RMA to Hectra. Hectra collects the tolls at the end of the day and the revenue comes back to us in about 60 days. There's about a 60-day lag for all that. And every 60 days, we'll be receiving our revenues from Hectra. The revenues won't be coming from Cameron County RMA. They will actually, Hectra is the end collector. The only thing that we'll be collecting locally is any delinquencies or bad, I think it's known as bad debt in the real world, but anybody that hasn't been locally paying their fees, you know, we would use a firm like Linebarger to go after them to try to recover those fees.
On page 33, it does say that CCRMA wires funds with HC.
Well, Hectra may be wiring them to CCRMA. Andrew, how is that? It's Hectra to CC and then to us,
Okay.
but
That's correct.
Hectra collects the fees.
Where do we get a statement from? Who provides us a statement?
I believe we require from both.
Both.
Yeah, from both.
Okay.
So they. Yes, sir.
What's the percent of delinquency?
Oh, we've got that information. I don't, Andrew, do you remember what the percentage is?
It's usually about 2%, 2 to 5%. It depends on the agency.
I'm sure that there's an agreement already out there with Lombarger. Bring it over so we can just review it and make sure it's not the amount that they're going to be collecting. We just want to make sure that it's done in a civil method. I'm sure they're very good at it, so we just like to be apprised of exactly what it is that we're getting into on the collection of the delinquencies, please.
Sure. Yes, sir. We'll get a copy of that agreement. Like I said, that'll be a pass through that we'll pay our pro rata share on.
Eli, and these toll revenue projections that's the numbers that were used to go over into our bonding and what we qualified to use. It all matches up.
Yes, sir. We use the projections from the traffic and revenue, from the investment grade traffic and revenue study. That's the data we use to put in the number of transactions and everything. Yes, sir.
So do you need a motion for it, or you just roll it over to the next meeting? To the tables?
What do we like?
I think I'm on to the table.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll move ahead.
So
I've got a motion and a second to table item A. All those in favor vote aye.
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 Opposed? No opposed? Okay, motion passes.
I'm sorry, we came after the discussion on it. But to be clear that we want some kind of historical information first and anything else that you could have for us to be better informed as to what we're doing and what we're doing now and many years from now.
So, Director, just to answer your question, we don't have any historical information for the agency because this is our first toll road. The only historical information we'll have will be from Cameron County or Hectra because they've been in the toll business for a
Well,
while.
it'd be good for us to know this even in the future, so that we know what we're doing, how we're matching up with whoever.
Yes, sir.
If you know, that'd be great if you say, this is where we are now with Cameron County. And they've been doing it for 10 years. And they're gonna bring us on board. They have these fees. Now, when they bring us on board, now these are the fees that are supposed to get increased and the charges and so forth. And this is what the projections in the future look like. It'd be great.
Like I said, Andrew Cadmus with HDR actually has a PowerPoint that kind of shows all that detail and we probably, you know, we probably should have let out for that, to kind of go through.
You're going 100 miles an hour. I see it. That's all right. It's okay. It's all right.
Yes, sir.
A lot going on.
And I have that if you need me to reference any of that.
Yeah, I think, Andrew, we just need to review it and add a little more information that they've asked for, so,
Excellent.
okay.
But I do real quick, if you don't mind, I suggest something in the future when we go for legislative, get our folks working on this. Maybe we can propose to the legislature, if there's anyone with a delinquent toll, they cannot reissue their vehicle registration.
Then,
That we could
Initially,
catch that
in our
2%.
statute, and I think it was declared unconstitutional. That was in the original tolling statute did have that language.
Okay.
yeah, they were denying your vehicle registration, but that got knocked off the books. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Chairman, Directors, the next item is,
Constitutional.
Resolution 2025-59, consideration approval of supplemental number 7 to work authorization number 8 to the professional service agreement with HDR Engineering for archaeological site assessment as part of the 365 tolling. So as part of the project, we have several sites along the right of way that are archaeologically sensitive that were identified during the environmental clearance. And so those were delineated in the project plans, and basically the contractor was told how to deal with those. And the short answer is we buried them deeper. If we discovered something that was sensitive, we covered it with dirt, with clean dirt, and make sure that it wasn't impacted. One of Polis's was it CSA or Polis's?
It's the third tier.
Yeah, one of the third tier subcontractors trenched, long story short, he trenched through the site. So these archaeological sites are under the jurisdiction of the Texas Historical Commission. So we had to notify them that the site was disturbed by the contractor. And so this is to do an assessment to see how that site was impacted. The fee that HDR is charging us is $120,791.31 to go back and assess that. But this cost is borne by the contractor. He will have to reimburse us for this 120,000 because they not trespassed, but they basically encroached into the site that they shouldn't have, that was identified on the plans. Everybody knew about. They were actually physically delineated out in the field, and they trenched through it. And so now they're responsible for these costs to go in and assess it, and then any additional requirements from the Texas Historical Commission, the contractor will also be responsible for. So staff is recommending approval of $120,791.31 with the caveat that the contractor is responsible ultimately for this cost.
Has the contractor accepted that responsibility already?
Yes.
And that's contractor Polis?
Well, this is done and passed through to D&G, who's a third tier to CSET, who has recognized and acknowledged that they are responsible for.
CC is.
Yes, sir.
And you have that in writing?
Yes, we do.
We have, yes, sir. We have emails and communications through that. Yes, sir.
And how are you how do you expect payment, reimbursement, or are you gonna work out a deal in their payment.
Not gonna be final reconciliation, ultimately, honestly, but yes, we would get a reimbursement.
I'm gonna recommend that we just, now that this has been approved, or once it's approved, that we just send them a bill and they, pay us for it, and then we pay HDR to do the work.
Well, that's very important in view of the history that we've had with Paula, so make sure that you get it done, please, okay?
Yes, sir.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor vote aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
Next item is 1C, Resolution 2025-60, consideration approval of contract amendment number 16 to the professional service agreement with HDR Engineering, to increase the maximum payable amount for supplemental 7 to work authorization number 8. So Chairman and Directors, this is just to increase their maximum, HDR's maximum payable amount to their contract on the $120,000 that you just approved in the work authorization. Staff recommends approval.
Fair motion.
So move.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, that passes.
Yeah. And Chairman and Director, this was also a time sensitive item because the Texas Historical Commission would not allow us to proceed with work until we assess the site.
Are they working on that particular area right now?
Well, they were, but we had to stop them because they trenched through. So this is also a time sensitive matter so that we can get the assessment done so they can give us direction to mitigate the damage. We can move on. But we have no further business for the board's consideration.
Okay, no need for item 2 at this point. Okay. All right, then if there's no further business, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Same sign. All right, thank you, everyone.